Hello everyone and welcome to my presentation, how to build and maintain a profitable business website for Nix. And my name is Vincent Brown, otherwise known as the WordPress Warrior. And as the name suggests, I specialize in helping people build very profitable WordPress websites because, as far as I'm concerned, all business is e-business. And this is how to go through the process of building up a WordPress website for less than $200. I know you're probably thinking that's not possible, but I'm about to prove it to you. Now, the first thing you need to do is choose a domain name for your business website, and there's a little bit of a trick to this. So let's say, for example, you're going to have a business that sells gluten-free cookies, and you've come up with the idea that you're going to use the name healthycakesandcookies.com.au. Now, that's not a bad name. It does roll off the tongue, and it is a fun sort of a name. But from a search engine optimization perspective, it's not very helpful at all. So I give that one definitely a cross. But with a little bit more thought, you might come up with something like www.glutenfreetreats.com.au. And I particularly like that one because we've got two of the most important keywords, those being gluten and free, in the domain name itself. So I give that one 1.5 stars, or 1.5 ticks in this particular case. And if you are running a gluten-free store in the city of Bunbury and you're able to get www.bunburyglutenfree.com.au, well, I would give that full 3 ticks because it's got all of the keywords you would be most desiring to get from a search engine optimization perspective, Bunbury being the location and gluten-free being the nature of the products that you sell. So put a great deal of thought into the domain name that you choose and look to get at least one, preferably 2, even 3 of the keywords that describe your business into the domain name if possible. Okay, and just a little tip here, when you do register your domain name, do it with the same company that you're actually going to have your hosting at, because if you do it somewhere else, like one of these overseas companies, you're only going to have to move it to an Australian host eventually, and that's just a real hassle. It can be done, but it drives me crazy. So pick the right host first, and then get your domain there. Okay, so yeah, obviously get your domain name. And speaking of hosting, and that'll cost you $24.90 to get an Australian.com.au domain for a period of 2 years. Okay, so that's the same wherever you go, because that's just simply how much it costs. Okay. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is choose a hosting package. This is where you're going to actually host your website for the next couple of years, or however long you plan to develop the company. Okay, and I've got some tips here as well. So anywhere you go, they'll offer a range of packages for you to choose from. Always look at the ones that are business packages, not personal. They don't have sufficient storage and features for business purposes. And here's a typical array of packages from a company known as Digital Pacific, which is the company I use for all of my clients. Okay, ranging from basic all the way through to some advanced ones. But for most small business purposes, the standard offering, in this case business standard, is probably all that you need, and should cost you about $19.90 a month as of 2014. I wouldn't anticipate that would change much into 2015. But the key things to be looking for here are the storage space, so 50 gigabytes, more than enough for most small business purposes. But more importantly, the monthly traffic, make sure you select something that's unlimited. So you're never going to exceed your monthly traffic limits and then find big bills coming to you at the end of the month. Add-on domains, at least 3. Setup costs should be absolutely free. Email addresses should be unlimited. I hate to see people that are stuck on plans where they only get 2 or 3 email addresses, then they've got to pay a fortune for additional ones. Okay, so avoid all of that. And that's where I would suggest that you would go and look for your web hosting at an Australian-owned company, okay, that is wholly owned within the country and is offers hosting for about the standard package, $19.90. Now, when you do register your domain and set up your hosting, the company that you choose will send you a whole bunch of emails with usernames and passwords and domains. Please put all those things away in a safe location because you're going to need them on an ongoing basis. And it's very frustrating when you need to do something, or you need to get someone like me to do something on your website, and you can't find any of those details, and it just delays everything. Okay, so step number 2 is to set up your web hosting, and assuming that you've got the $19.90 type plan and you pay the first month in advance, of course, we've now only spent $44.80 to this stage. Moving right along, the next thing to do is to install the website platform that you are going to use. And it's no surprise that I'm going to recommend WordPress, because, you know, I call myself the WordPress warrior. You can see the connection there, can't you? Okay. And, you know, what you'll do for most hosting companies, they'll have an interface that allows you to do all this, known as cPanel. You can see it there on the slide. And all you have to do is just click on the WordPress icon and follow the instructions. And just a few minutes later, you will have everything set up as per your requirement. Okay, you'll be provided with the website address and also the administration address as well. So make sure you take note of those so that you can get to them conveniently when you start the development process. As you create passwords for all of these assets, when you set them up, make sure they're strong passwords that use a combination of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, special characters, and so on, so that the overseas hackers cannot guess them, because sooner or later they're going to have a go for sure. Okay, so that's your next step, is to install WordPress. WordPress is open source software, which means from our perspective it is totally free, so we still haven't exceeded the $44.80. Okay. Now, the next thing to do is to select a theme for our website that's going to dictate its appearance, its style, its colors, its layout, and all of these sorts of things, which is another reason why I love WordPress, because there are so many themes available on the internet for you to choose from. There are several companies that provide high quality themes. One of them that I really like is called StudioPress, and you can find them at studiopress.com. Their themes are a little more expensive at about $100 a pop, but when it comes to the theme, you get what you pay for, and you may as well invest in a good theme that is being well coded, is secure, loads quickly when people are visiting it, supports search engine optimization fully, and of course is fully responsive to mobile devices. And the themes provided by StudioPress indeed meet those criteria, so I recommend them. So go and grab one of their themes and upload it into your WordPress installation and activate it. And there are plenty of other videos on this site that show you how to do things like that. So assuming you fork out the $100 for a theme of that quality, we're now up to $144.75 at this stage. Okay. Now, once WordPress has been installed and you've got the theme attached, there's a few administration tasks that you need to take care of. So you need to create a dedicated home page and a dedicated blog page for a start. And then you need to make sure that WordPress knows that the home page is the page that is going to be seen and operate as the front page of your website, and the blog is going to be the page to which all of your posts will be sent as you create them. Okay, and that's done in the settings part of the WordPress administration panel. Once again, there's videos on this site that teach you how to do all of that. You want to do other things like turn off comments for new articles if you don't want those on by default, setting permalinks for your post names so that you've got meaningful web address names at the end of your web addresses rather than just numbers, and to adjust the theme settings as required to your specific needs. Okay, and WordPress has a settings area that makes all of this relatively easy and straightforward to do. And as I said, there's other videos on this site that show you how to do that. Okay, so complete all the items on that checklist, and there's no expense incurred in any of those activities, so we're still at $144.75. Okay, now you've got to design the site structure and build up the pages, the main static pages that are going to be part of your website. And this requires quite a degree of thought. For example, you can divide your website up, or your website page structure, by service. For example, you know, what the services that you offer, by industry, whether, you know, you've got areas for small and medium organizations, corporates and not-for-profits. You can set it up by customer, so a section for new customers, existing customers, and returning customers. By stage, for example, those just starting in a course, those who've had 3 months experience, those that have 6 months experience. Or by funnel, In other words, explaining to a person what the product is, telling them how the product is going to help them, and then leading them towards the purchase process. But of course, these are only five of only many other possible ways that you can structure your site. And the idea is to do so in such a way that appeals most closely to the type of customer that you have and what they would be expecting to find when they come to your site to browse your products and or services. And of course, don't forget the things like the Contact Us page, About Us page, terms and conditions, those sorts of things as well, which are mandatory for all business websites these days. Okay, so once again, my tip is to think hard about this, because the site structure does have a very powerful influence on the way the customers or visitors to your website will interact with that site, and especially when you're driving them to do something like purchase a product or sign up for a newsletter or whatever the case may be. You've got to make it as easy and intuitive for them as you possibly can. Okay, so at this stage you can now go and create the required pages, and once again that shouldn't have any additional expense, so we're still at $144.75. Okay, now this bit is also critical, and of all the pages that you create, it's essential that you identify and prioritize those pages which are landing pages. My definition of a landing page is one that is specifically designed to drive website visitors to a desired action. Once again, to buy a product, or to enroll in a course, or to sign up for a newsletter, or whatever the case may be. And there'll always be a number of pages on your website that have that intention to drive the visitor to a specific action, and you need to give those pages particular attention to make sure that they achieve that objective. So when you're looking at my standard attract, persuade, engage and convert model, then key landing pages will be involved in the persuading of web visitors to stay and dig deeper into the site, to engage them in such a way as to convince them that your products and services are right for them, and then allow them to convert by purchasing or registering or calling or whatever it is that you have defined as a conversion. Okay? In particular, you've only got about 3 to 7 seconds to persuade your website visitors to stay and dig further into the site and get closer to a conversion. So perhaps that's the first place you really need to identify your key landing pages and give them the necessary attention to make sure they're effective in driving each website visitor towards the action you want them to perform. Okay, so once again, I could write a whole book just on this particular topic, and maybe one day I will, because your landing pages are critical. If they don't engage and then move your website visitors towards the action that you want them to take, then you're not going to convert at a very high rate, and you may not convert at all. Okay, so at this point you can go and focus on those landing pages and make sure that they do what it is that they need to do. And once again, we haven't incurred any expense other than cognitive expense, time, effort, and so on. So we're still at $144.75. Okay. Now, talking about conversion's only ever going to take place if you provide your website visitors with a device through which they can convert. So, for example, some sort of a user form that they can fill out and submit and sends information to you, a button that allows them to book into a course, a phone number that can be thumbed on an iPhone or a Samsung Note, for example, and will actually dial the phone. You can see on that slide there the code required to do that. A button that allows them to request a quote is another example. A button to go into PayPal and pay for a purchase that they've made. A button that entices them to enter into some sort of special offer that you have available, or a free trial is another. These are all conversion devices. And these devices also require a lot of thought, because they need to be enticing. They need to, be clear that they are clickable, clear what they're asking the customer or the website visitor to do, and also, make it dead easy for that person to convert in the way that you wish them to do so. And on top of all of that, they've all got to be smartphone friendly, because, basically, anything up to 70% of your daily visitors are going to be visiting you on a smartphone or a tablet device, and if these conversion devices are not clear or don't operate correctly on those devices, well, you're just out of luck when it comes to conversion. Okay, and my tip when it comes to conversion devices is to locate each conversion device closest to the most compelling copy on the page. So the moment that you've persuaded them to do something, there's no thinking involved for them to go and find the button that they need to click to actually convert. Okay, and this is a science onto itself as well that I'm just scratching the surface of, but this at least gets you thinking in that general area. So go ahead now and create and position your engagement devices. And once again, if you haven't hired a graphic designer or a programmer to do anything in particular here, then we're still only at $144.75. Next thing we need to take care of is the page copy, the text and other content on the page that is designed to inform and persuade our web visitors, okay? And once again, if this is done poorly and if it's weak, then you're unlikely to convert anybody. It's got to be compelling. It needs to persuade the website visitor to take the action that you want them to take. And they're only going to do that if the website copy, the video, the images, the text, whatever the case may be, is persuasive and enticing to get them to do that. So start with the prospect, not with the product. Make sure that you provide an offer that the visitors actually want. So you need to think, why would they really want this particular product or service that you're offering? What are the benefits to them? Articulate your USP at all stages of the copy. That's your unique selling proposition. What makes your product and service and your business stand out from your competitors and other products and services in that space. Make sure you establish and maintain credibility within the page, so references and testimonials and those sorts of things wherever possible. Keep the writing, the video, the statements, the language, the wordage, all simple and direct. Make sure it's first person, make sure it's in active voice so that you're talking to the prospect rather than at them, especially don't speak in third person. That's never going to work. And always drive the visitor to act, and that is to interact with one of the engagement devices on the page, preferably one engagement device, the one that's going to get you ultimately paid, and we get the product or the service actually sold. This also is a massive area of learning for those that haven't done writing of this kind before, so I strongly recommend you go to Copyblogger. That's copyblogger.com, and they've got 16 awesome ebooks there that you can download for free and start educating yourself. It takes a bit of practice, but with time you can start to write some very compelling web copy for your website to put on your landing pages, and you're going to have to if you're going to actually convert. Okay, so start getting those pages written, always thinking about how much is what I've written going to drive the prospect through to a conversion. Okay. Once again, assuming you haven't hired a copywriter to do this for you, we're still on $144.75. Now, extending on from the concept of content, when I was talking about the copy in the previous slide, heavy use of images and video is also going to be necessary to create a compelling site. For images, one of the best places on the web at the moment to get these is Deposit Photos at depositphotos.com, where you can get 50 images for $50. And trust me, compared to many of the other image warehouses on the internet, that is a bargain basement price. But I use them myself. The images are fantastic, high quality and very inexpensive and very easy to buy. So I would suggest that source for your images. And when you do purchase images, to sit next to your copy, make sure it's relevant to the copy. Okay, I don't want to see a picture of a cow when you're selling cars. Okay, the other thing is to really start to embrace video in your web pages. Video does allow people to convert at a higher rate on your web pages because it engages them at a much meaningful level. And if you're not into making your own videos yet, then one of the best places to go is Fiverr. That's fiverr.com, as you can see on the screen. And there are many skilled people that work overseas that create all sorts of videos for you for as little as $5, although usually once you've got the add-ons and the high definition and the scripting and so on, it's more like $30. But for a business investment, it's still very, very small. And many of my clients use videos in this way from Fiverr to great effect for conversion. So I strongly recommend you start getting those videos together for your site to help sell your products and your services. Okay, but once again, any images and video that you use on your landing pages must be as equally purposeful and compelling as any text that you write. Otherwise, they're just taking up space and serving no purpose. Okay, So go about doing that now and getting those things into your web pages. And assuming that you get the $50 for the deposit photos and $5 for a video, we're now up to $199.75. We haven't cracked $200 yet for the basic elements of a business website. Okay. Right, next thing we need to deal with is apply SEO to all the landing pages. So that's search engine optimization. That's all the things we have to do to each of the web pages on our business website to make it visible within Google search results, preferably on the first page, preferably on the top half of the first page. And once again, one of the reasons I favor WordPress is that the amazing little plugin called Yoast is available, absolutely free, which guides you step by step through the process of making sure any landing page that you create is absolutely perfectly optimized for Google. And there is a video on this site that shows you exactly how to use that fantastic piece of free software. I must say it is outstanding. So make sure you're using that on your WordPress websites, and that will help you place keywords appropriately at all 9 levels within the page that Google looks at, from the title, the description, the page heading, the images, alt tags, body text, the URL, document names, and in the anchor text as well. Just have to follow the instructions in the software. It gives you a score, and once it gets to good, you are good to go. Okay. If you want to know more about this at an even deeper level, then be sure to attend my next Mastering Strategic SEO session, which will be advertised on my site or on Eventbrite. So I have those at least once a month. Okay. So do that to all of your landing pages, especially. Those are the pages that you want to attract people to, that are going to drive them to an action that's going to put money into your bank. Okay. The plugin is free, so we still haven't cracked $199.75. The next thing is something many businesses overlooked, and often they're not even aware, and that is to plug your site in with all the various Google assets that help you manage the site effectively. So we're talking about Google Webmaster Tools, where you register and validate your business website and upload what's known as an XML sitemap, so Google knows exactly what parts of your website you want it to index. We want to put Google Analytics into all of the pages so that we can monitor everything that happens on the site and who comes to the site, where did they land, how long did they stay, how many converted, where did they leave prematurely, and so on. You can't live without it in a business sense. If you are a local business, then get Google My Business set up for a variety of very useful reasons that helps your SEO, and also your Google Plus page. Set up a business page, continually add useful content to it, invite other people into your circles, and whatever you do, be active. That's the key to these social media assets. And in terms of social media, okay, the most important thing is that if you don't understand social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and Google Plus, then go and learn, okay, because social media is an integral part of your online business machine. It's one of the areas that drives large amounts of traffic to your website, so you need to learn how to use some of these assets yourself. And best place to start is Natalia Van Veen's online marketing show at Online Marketing Show TV. Okay, as you can see there on the slide. Plenty of stuff there for you to begin to get an effective foundation in the correct use of social media for online business. Okay, so integrate your social media assets, and if you haven't done any paid ads or anything, we still haven't cracked $199.75. Okay, so thank you very much. That's basically the steps you need to go through to set up a business website using the amazing WordPress content management system. Continually go to wordpresswarrior.com.au for seminar dates, course details, my blog, articles, resources, reading lists, and more about how to do business online. And if you haven't already done so, go to my Facebook page at the WordPress Warrior and give me a like now that I've given you this awesome video. And it's also where I post a lot of content on a daily basis to help you with your web business endeavors. Thanks for listening.